Hey everybody, David here, and I wanted to do a list of some top 10 episodes of some of my current TV shows that I really love. And I've been rewatching a lot of them on Blu-ray recently because a lot of them have been coming out like here and there, each and every week so far. The last at least 4 weeks I can think of, I've been buying a new Blu-ray of a TV show or two of a TV show I love. And the ones that I really want to do for sure are the DC TV shows right now, and leading up to the CW stuff. Of them coming back on the air with their new seasons. And so I thought it would be fun to start with Arrow, because Arrow's the one that got a lot of backlash last season, the most, I think, out of all these CW shows, or all these superhero shows in general. And put a list together as I was binge watching season 4 on Blu-ray to see what were really the great episodes, because I think the good episodes of the season really did get overlooked by the negativity of the season. Maybe people will disagree with me, maybe not. We'll see. So let's get through this. My top 10 episodes of Arrow season 4. Let's do this. At number 10, I have Code of Silence. This episode isn't the best episode of the season, but I would say it is a pretty strong episode. I think we get some good focus here for Lance, as well as his relationship with Donna Smoke. He's pondering the question, how's he going to balance this by keeping secrets himself from Donna Smoke, Felicity's mom. I think that was actually one of the highlights for this season, was that relationship. So that's one episode that made my list, for a little bit more reasons than just that relationship. But that's the big thing to, I think, come out of that episode. At number 9, I have Sins of the Father. Malcolm Merlyn is being hunted by Nyssa Al Ghul for the power to control the League of Assassins. And this was a really cool episode. I thought there was some great interactions with the Nyssa and Team Arrow, as well as them wanting to get Malcolm Merlyn. Malcolm Merlyn, in my opinion, hasn't been the best in season 4. I think some of Malcolm's best moments were in season 1, 2, and 3. In season 4, he has his moments, and this is definitely one of those better episodes that really focused on Malcolm's character. There are times, though, throughout the season where I'll agree with people that I do feel like maybe the writers are struggling what to really do with Malcolm, and the only reason they have him on, it's because John Barrowman is such an amazing actor that they want to keep him around longer. At number 8, I have the episode Unchained. This is the episode that brings back Roy Harper as Arsenal. We get to see him after leaving the show at the end of season 3. Season 4 brings him back for one episode, and it's a really good episode too. And we learn in this episode Felicity's father, who he really is, the villain calculator. Episode is really strong, a lot of fun, and it was great seeing Roy back for at least one episode this season. At number 7, I have Haunted. Haunted is the crossover with Constantine. John Constantine, played by Matt Ryan, returns in this episode, and it is a lot of fun seeing Oliver and Constantine interact together. And I like how they integrated Constantine into the flashbacks. I thought that was a really smart move on the writer's part. And it's also the episode that, we have Sarah now alive, and they're going into this spiritual world to retrieve her soul back. I thought it was a great episode all around. These next couple of episodes are really some of the best of the season, I think. At number 6, I have Monument Point. This episode is the one, it's towards the end of the season, where I think it's like the third last episode of the season, where, Felicity has to team up with her father. We get some really nice character interactions there. We learn a little bit more about why Donna left him. So even though I hated the dome idea, this episode was actually a lot of fun. And seeing Oliver and Diggle in the dome, and Thea having to deal with that obsessed kid that was like obsessed with her, keep calling her mama. mommy or whatever. Yeah, it was a really solid episode, nicely leading to a not so great finale. At number 5, I have Dark Waters. This is the episode where, Oliver, Felicity, things are looking good for both of them. And this was the mid-season finale, man. And I gotta say, it was definitely a high point that kept us all on edge. Because throughout the season, they've been hinting, hey, somebody's going to be dying this season. Who could it be? And by the end of this episode, it makes us wonder, is it going to be Felicity? Well, we all know the answer by now, and it's an answer that pissed us all off. At number 4, I have Taken. This episode introduces the character Vixen into the DC CW universe, or I like to call it the Flareoverse. Vixen had her own show. It's still on. It's coming back for a season 2, but it's a web series. It's not on television. You can only catch it on the CW Seed, which unfortunately living in Canada doesn't allow me to watch that. But I will say it was really cool seeing this character brought to life. I did see small little clips online on YouTube of the character and her show, and I do really want to watch it. But from what I got to see here, it was really cool. And who knows? Maybe they should just spin her off into a live action series instead of animated, and let's get more out of her. Put her on Friday nights. It's gonna be awesome. At number 3, I have Canary Cry. This is the episode after, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Arrow Season 4 yet, you might want to stay away from this. Black Canary, aka Laurel Lance, dies. And this was actually a nice little love letter to the character, a nice little send-off, if you will, where we get a lot of flashbacks to Oliver and Laurel at the end of Season 1. And I really thought this was a really nice bookend for the character of Laurel Lance. It really was. You can tell the writers really put a lot of care into this episode and really showed us a side of Oliver and Laurel that we haven't seen for a while. We love that romance, and for traditionalists of the comic books, I think this episode was definitely for them kind of letting fans know, look, we know this is what it was supposed to be, but we're going to change it up, and we hope we'll give you this episode in a way where maybe it will help ease things. Unfortunately, it didn't ease things, and oh well. But you can't deny that this episode was actually really well done, and the flashbacks were really enjoyable. At number 2, I have 11:59. This is the episode that the entire season was leading up to, who is in the grave, and we find out that it is, in fact, Laurel Lance, the Black Canary. She dies in this episode, and it's very tragic. I thought this episode was really well done in how it was building up to it. It made us think, is Felicity going to die? We knew Felicity wasn't going to die because we had the flash forward that revealed that she wasn't going to die, that she is in the limousine. And but it made us think if Diggle was going to die. It made us think if Theo was going to die. And then it turns out to be Laurel. And it came out of nowhere. Fans, this was the biggest upset for fans who wanted to see Black Canary and Oliver, Green Arrow, get into a relationship just like the classic Clark Kent and Lois Lane. Unfortunately, this show ripped it out of our hearts and said, nope. You guys aren't getting that, but you can't deny that everything was really well done in this episode. The directing, the writing, the acting, especially the very end, the last 10 minutes was really well done, especially in the hospital scene, especially the way they made us think, oh, okay, maybe she's not going to die. There was a brief moment where it seemed like everything was going to be okay. Laurel whispers something to Oliver, and then in the next scene, we just see doctors rushing into the room, and Laurel's having a freaking seizure. The faces on everybody looks horrified. They all look horrified that this is actually happening all of a sudden. It definitely brought tears to my eyes, and an episode that I really felt was definitely one of their finest moments. Finally, number 1 on my list is Legends of Yesterday. This was part 2 of the crossover between Arrow and Flash, and I have to say, the better part of the crossover. I enjoyed the first part also, Legends of Today, which was on the Flash, and then Legends of Yesterday actually, in my opinion, is the slightly better part of the crossover because of how really well written it is, especially for Oliver's his motivation, his character development, especially with his son and his estranged girlfriend, I guess, the ex-girlfriend that he got pregnant. There's actually a lot of really good moments in this. I really do like the scene where Barry travels back in time. You know it's gonna happen, just when is it gonna happen? And then when it does happen, it's freaking amazing. Every time Arrow and Flash have a little crossover together, even if it's just a little crossover, like the episode Rogue Air where Oliver comes just for the final fight, or Barry showing up in the finale of Arrow season 3, it's always a lot of fun seeing the characters from The Flash interact with the characters from Arrow, and this is no exception. One of my favorite moments in the film, besides the action stuff going on here, is actually the moment towards the end where Oliver finally gets to interact with his son. He gets to talk to him for the first time. And what I really like about that moment is when Oliver goes up to him and, tells his son, he sees that his son is a huge fan of The Flash. So what does he do to start a conversation? I'm a friend of The Flash, or I know The Flash, and the kid is actually interested in him afterwards, and it helps them start a conversation. And that's where I actually teared up when I first saw that moment for the first time. It really got to me. I was happy that Oliver got to experience that with his son, and definitely set up for something to happen later on, which was an episode I already talked about, Taken. We get to see Oliver's son in that episode as well, where it kind of wraps that up a little bit, maybe leaving it a little open-ended for we can see William again one day. But this team up delivered on everything, especially when you watch both the Flash and the Arrow episode of this together, especially since it was also at the same time setting up Legends of Tomorrow with Hawkman and Hawkgirl, which was a really nice way to get us to go and watch that, because I think we were all excited after this episode. Did such a fantastic job. So everybody, that was my list of Arrow season 4 episodes. I hope you guys like it. If you don't, tell me what your list is. Don't say no episodes. There are some really good episodes in season 4. It doesn't have to be the episodes that I listed off. Even if it's just the team up, you gotta admit that even the team ups are still enjoyable when Arrow and the Flash cross over together. That's still some of the best stuff. That's the reason why I hope season 5 can get back to what season 1 and 2 of Arrow was. I want all these DC shows to be great. I want all the Marvel shows to be great. Netflix is killing it with the Marvel stuff. Now we need the DC TV stuff to be as good, and especially the ones on the CW, because I want to enjoy all of them, especially what Greg Berlanti and his team are doing with all these shows by having them cross over the way they are. I want to see more of that, and I hope to see Arrow get back up on its feet to have us cheering for all 4 of these shows. So guys, are you excited for Arrow Season 4? Tell me, and like this video, subscribe to my channel, leave comments if you want. I'll link some links to some of the episodes, maybe all the episode that I reviewed off this list, so you can see what I think about them. Maybe my mind has changed since then, I don't know, but yeah, these are the top 10. And with that being said, check me out on Twitter, Facebook, and my podcast, which hopefully this weekend I'll get to do something. We'll see. And until next time, guys, take care.